Hello and welcome to Cloth Diaper Review. My name is Carmen. Welcome back if you have watched one of my videos again. Super excited that you're joining me again. And welcome if this is the first time that you are seeing me in your life. I am also super glad that you're here. How's it going? Nice to meet you. Welcome. Today is the first day of the Cloth Collective Initiative for 2022. It is a community event within the cloth diapering community. There is a series of prompts throughout the week. I highly encourage you, please, I want to hear from you. I want to learn from you. I want to share knowledge, swap some stories, horror stories, good stories, all the good things, all the bad stuff about cloth diapering needs, and raising awareness for not only cloth diapers, but the outstanding amount of people that are in dire diaper need. So I'm not just talking about cloth diapering, I'm talking about diapers in general. At the end of the day, the most important thing is to have a clean diaper. And there are many families that are having to use things that are not diapers and should never be diapers. So this week not only highlights all of the wonderful things about cloth diapering, to encourage people to cloth diaper, share knowledge, share wisdom, but also to provide more resources and education about where can I get diapers if I can't get them, etc. So without further ado, let's get into day one. Okay, so the prompt for day one is wash and care. So let's just chit chat about wash and care. But first, I have a disclaimer. I am not an expert about cloth diaper washing, like in any way, shape, or form. I don't have an HE machine. I don't understand how HE machine work. I'm kind of nervous about it. I don't have soft water either. So there's a lot of things that I don't know about washing cloth diapers. What I'm doing here is sharing my experience and what I do, and the good, the bad, all of the things in between. There are wonderful resources throughout social media land, the interwebs, that have excellent wash diapering advice. I'm going to link 2 down below that have personally helped me. Not endorsing them or anything, it's just like where I got information from and have had success with it. So that's my disclaimer. I don't know jack about washing diapers. I'm just telling you how I'm doing mine. Cool. So, washing diapers. A few things. I have hard water. It's $2.50. It's a pain in the butt. I use a water softener for it. You can fix that. It's not a big deal. Would I rather have hard water over soft water? Probably, but there are issues with hard water also on top of things with soft water. The other thing is that we have a non-HE machine. It does have a center agitator. It is a top loader. It's from 1996. She's a workhorse. She's going hard. I don't know what I'm going to do if we don't have that machine. I'm kind of nervous. I hope it doesn't die. That's kind of the important things that people always want to know about. What kind of machine do you have, and then what's your water hardness? So let's take a look. How did I figure out my water hardness? I tested it. I believe you can take your water to like a pet store and they can test it. I got pool water testers from Walmart. They are a little expensive though. The reason that I went that route is because I would like to be able to have the resources to test water when we were in different places other than our home, and be able to make wise choices about how I will wash the diapers in different situations. So that's that. Next thing is what I actually use in how I get my diapers clean, like what detergent, things like that. So right now I am using this. It's a Tide Hygienic Clean Heavy Duty, 10 times duty, extra heavy duty type of thing. It's free nature. I don't know, does it smell like anything? I don't really think so. No, it smells like plain Tide. Usually I use Tide Free and Gentle powder. I prefer the powder. I think that it works better in water. I think there's science behind it too with that. The reason that we don't have that right now is because it is kind of tricky to get a hold of. We do have it at the Walmart here, but they're often sold out, so I kind of have to get whatever I can get. And the big thing with me is that it is scent free at least. We don't have any issues with Tide, so I just grab this if I can find it. As I mentioned, I do have hard water and I do soften the water, because if I don't soften the water, I got troubles. I get barnyard because the diapers don't get clean. So I use Calgon in my water. I also do have some borax here. I prefer Calgon. The reason why is that borax and Calgon work differently to achieve the same thing. With the science, from what I have read, Calgon works better than borax because Calgon works differently than borax does. However, same thing with the Tide Free and Gentle. I can't always get Calgon. We live in a place that has hard water, so people use it. It's a normal thing that people use. And so I'll just use borax if I have to with that. And I usually use borax in our normal laundry just because Calgon is more expensive. And then storage. I guess storage is an important thing. I store our dirty cloth diapers in here. This is from the dollar store. I think it's the $1.25 store. I don't think it's $1.07 in here anymore. But when I bought it, it was a full dollar. Great investment. Love that. I prefer an open basket method over a closed wet bag or like an open wet bag of some sort. I did do that really briefly and it made me paranoid about like mold and things like that, so I just prefer the open air method. And what I actually do is I have the privilege of being able to stay home with our son, so I clean any diapers that have had a bowel movement right away. We do have a diaper sprayer. It was gifted to us in our baby registry. If it had not been, we wouldn't have one. They're expensive. And I don't think that you need them. Do they make life easier? Yes, but you don't need one. Sometimes I do the dunk and swish. Our toilet is like a water-saving toilet, even though I have adjusted the mechanism in the tank that should adjust the water level within the bowl. It did not make a very big difference. So dunk and swish is a little bit more tricky. And if I'm going to do that, I just do it in the toilet downstairs because that's an older machine, or an older toilet, and there's more water in the bowl with that. But after that, I have obviously already separated everything before I spray. And what I do is hang the wet diaper then over. We have 2 shower curtain rods in our shower. One of them is actually for the shower curtain. The other one is higher and inside the shower so that like my husband can't hit his head or anything on it when he showers. But that's where I hang diapers that need to be airing out. I like to keep lots and lots of air through things, and my goal is to have things relatively dry before they go into this basket. The one exception is our nighttime diapers because they stink. They stink everything up. So I do put those into a small wet bag. I keep it open and I keep it like on the side. I don't pile anything up on it so that we can keep airflow in there. And because we wash every other day, like in the morning on the second day, I take that out, take the other one out, kind of air dry it again and replace it into the bath so that there's airflow and things like that, but it doesn't stink everything up because it's, if you know, you know, night diapers are nasty. They're disgusting. So that's what I do to take care of that. So as I mentioned, I wash every other day. It just works out for us. Our washing machine doesn't have a really massive drum, and because we use so many flat diapering options that just, they occupy more space than a traditional flat, I have enough laundry at the end of 2 days to go ahead and wash in that evening. Wash at nighttime. Just, that's what works out. And kind of a night owl with that. Sometimes I do it during the day. It doesn't really matter. You can do it whatever works for you. So because I have a non-aging machine, and I also have an older machine, my wash cycles are super short, like 35 minutes, maybe, on the heaviest one with the most amount of water. So because of that, I do something technically you are not supposed to do with hard water, and I have an extra rinse. However, my extra rinse doesn't go at the end of the wash cycle. It goes before I ever even wash the diapers. So I have a rinse and spin in cold water before my pre-wash, my main wash. So I get all the diapers in there. I go ahead and flip it to the super level for water. It's the max amount of water. And then I do a rinse and spin in cold. And the reason that I'm doing this is to flush out some of the urine that's in there, because if I don't do the rinse and spin, my diapers stink. They don't get clean. They smell like ammonia, and it's not because they're not, like, it's not because I'm not using enough detergent. It's that the wash cycle is just way too short. And once someone pointed this out to me, I stopped having diaper issues with ammonia. I thought that I had detergent buildup. And I didn't. I kept checking and kept checking, and that just wasn't what was wrong. It's just that the diapers needed to be able to get flushed out before they actually got washed. So that's why I do a rinse and spin before. For my pre-wash, I do warm water, heavy wash cycle with the super level of the wash, and with that I do 1 line of this, and I do a 1/2 cup of Calgon. And then after that, when I go into my main wash, I do 2 lines of the Tide and another 1/2 cup of the Calgon. And of course, in between all 3 of these cycles, I flip it open, fluff everything up, break everything up, and then go ahead. Because I wash every 2 days and our drum is quite small, I don't have to bulk the load. Occasionally I do if I have just like a couple things of my son that needs to be washed. I'll throw it in the main wash. But I do prefer to keep the drum closer to 3/4 full, not too full and not underfilled. You want to be able to have enough that you're getting proper agitation against things. So because we have the auger, things go up and then come down the auger, but they're also brushing against each other, and that's how you're getting things clean in there. So occasionally I bulk the load. I know a lot of places online say that you have to bulk the load. I don't know, my diapers get clean, I don't have trouble with it, so that's what I have to say about my experience. Another thing that I want to talk about with hard water specifically, and it's mineral buildup. And that is always one of the fears about having hard water, is the mineral buildup. So even though I use Calgon and I soften the water, and this has happened even when I was using 2 full caps and I wasn't just using a 1/2 cap type of thing, I still got mineral buildup. It's just going to happen, and I think it's probably because of that extra rinse and spin, but I have to do it to get my diapers clean. So with that, got to do an RLR strip. Now I don't use RLR, I use like the version that uses Calgon, washing soda, borax, and detergent. It is such a process. I will make a video about it one time. I call it diaper soup. So when you strip all the minerals out and then you need to sanitize and then you get everything gone. It's a process. But the way that I knew that I had mineral buildup is kind of weird, and I haven't heard anybody else talk about this. So yes, I had this weird rash on my son, and I was like 99.9% sure that this was not a yeast rash of some sort. And it was in a weird spot. It was like on the top of his hip and up across like the front groin area, or like the upper groin area. But it didn't seem to spread, and it would get better and it would get worse, but it didn't seem to be responding to any sort of cream. Even if I would like throw him in a disposable and I didn't use any cream, it would get better, and it was just really weird, and it took me a little bit to figure out what the heck is going on. And why don't you do mineral strip? And I was like, I should have already done that. Like, I'm a month overdue. I wanted to plan to do this every 3 months. And so I did it, and the thing that I noticed that was immediately different about the diapers was the smell. My diapers had a smell that was like chlorine, but it wasn't quite chlorine. It was just kind of like this minerally smell, kind of like that. And now I have associated that with, that must have been what I was smelling was a hard mineral buildup. And I don't know if this is an experience with other people, but it makes sense to me because I did the mineral strip, the smell went away, and then my son's rash immediately went away. It was gone. So there was something with it. In the future, you know, at the 3 month mark again, I'm going to see if I'm starting to smell that smell again. And I've been like smelling my diapers lately. I'm like, nope, the smell's not there. So there was something to that. I didn't change anything else other than I did the RLR strip. Not really long and hard. If I really felt like I was the person that should be demonstrating hand washing diapers. And the answer is no. This is why. I don't hand wash my diapers. Never have. And I would rather help to foster with the community the empowerment of people who regularly hand wash be it for financial reasons or like resources, like people who are in RVs or something like that, to be able to have their voices amplified and they be the educators on something like that. So I am in a position, though, that this has really got me to start thinking about something that I wasn't thinking was going to come up as I was pondering hand washing and things like that. And it has to do with natural disasters, which sounds really dramatic, but this is it. We live in North Dakota, and if you know anything about North Dakota, it's cold. It's very cold in the winter. In the summer, it is quite nice. It can easily get to 100 degrees. It's not an extended period of time, but it definitely gets that hot, and it's very humid in the summer. Unless there's a drought and everything's on fire, that's a little bit different. But in the winter, it is not unusual to be -40, -50, especially in January, February time. That tends to be the coldest time, and with that, you get winter storms. And I'm not talking like a couple inches, I'm talking like feet, blizzards, whiteouts that you can't see like in your backyard or you can't see across the street, that kind of thing. They're very serious, and they can be really dangerous. And with that, you have a real possibility of losing power. It would not be uncommon or surprising. I do think, when I think about when I was little, I think it was a much more common occurrence because the power lines, a lot of them have been buried now because it works better, because on top of it being really cold and there being blizzards, it is super windy here. It's always windy, but especially when there's winter storms. And also, like in the summer, we get some really nasty summer storms. You wouldn't think that like tornadoes and strong winds and things like that would necessarily happen, but we live in the valley and there's not much to stop in all of the high winds. Where I live, there are quite a bit of trees because the city has planted a lot of them, but there's not a whole lot like in open country to have a windbreak unless somebody built the windbreak, in a shelter build or something like that. So the wind can be extremely violent, and on top of that, it's cold and things freeze or lines break and things like that. And we actually live in one of the neighborhoods that don't have buried power lines. It's just some neighborhoods do. Like my parents' neighborhood has buried lines, but mine doesn't, and we live, I don't know, a couple miles apart, and our houses were built within the same decade, so it just kind of depends on. But with that, I kind of started thinking, like, what would I do? Like, am I prepared to be able to do this? And the answer is no, not at all. And we don't have a Jenny for our home. Growing up, we had a generator because we would lose power, and then that's how you keep your house going. So that also is like, do you need a generator? Like Black Friday? Should we be looking at Jenny deals or something like that? So that also brings up a whole other thing. But being prepared for things, and that's something that I am going to be making sure that I'm not scrambling, that I'm going to be able to provide clean diapers and like clean clothing for my family and things like that. So it's good to know hand washing, not simply for cloth diapering and cloth diapering needs, but it's a very multifaceted skill that will be applicable for camping, RV, natural disasters, actual physical need to be able to do this because of financial reasons. So that's why I think that the art of hand washing, let's call it, to kind of romanticize it, is so important. And if you follow me on Instagram at all, you will know that I am quite interested in like old ways. And I really hold very, very near and dear to my heart old knowledge, and hand washing is one of those things. And it's so weird because I think that we think about hand washing as being so antiquated, and it's kind of quite modern still because it's common. Like when I started looking at different things and different options with hand washing, this is something that happens all over the world. You know, lots of people don't have washing machines. Lots of people don't even have access to like water in their homes, and they have to go to a stream or something like that to be able to hand wash. So I do think that it's something that we need to continue to have resources on. But I personally, I want to hear the voices of somebody who actually has done this, has real experiences with it, whether that be previous or current experience with it. And that's who I want to get my knowledge from. So with that, that is day one of the Cloth Collective Initiative 2022. It's all about wash and care. There is one little piece of advice, tidbit, wisdom, I don't know, something that I have thought about that I want to share with you. And that is that you are the only one that is going to know if there's something wrong with your wash routine. It doesn't matter where you got it from. It could be like the perfect wash routine on paper, but if something funky is happening with your diapers, you are the only one that knows. You are the only one that's physically doing it, and you can change something about it. You can adjust, and maybe you need more detergent, maybe you need less detergent, maybe you need a water softener, something like that. Extra rinse and spin before. Like, you're allowed to break rules. Is you are in control of your wash routine. And if something's funky happening, you can change it because they're your diapers, and it doesn't matter where your advice came from. And this is absolutely not to discredit any groups that give out information. It's just, I feel like a lot of people feel like they aren't allowed to make adjustments, and that's just not true. You can make adjustments as you need to. Cloth diaper washing isn't one size fits all. It's fine. Reach out for help. Make adjustments. All that good stuff. So thank you so much for watching. I will be back tomorrow with day 2 of the Cloth Collective Initiative. Let me know in the chat box down below, comment box, have you hand washed cloth diapers? I'd love to hear about your experience and what worked, what didn't work, any advice that you might have for me, as this is something that I will be learning to make sure that I can do in like a real life situation. And it's not just for like prepping, it's also, there's like another instance that has to do with our family farm, that this is going to be the option that I have to use to wash our cloth diapers. So I'm also kind of preparing myself for that. I do have to have carpal tunnel surgery, so I like physically don't think that I can hand wash diapers right now, and that is a real point that we need to consider. Yes, everyone could cloth diaper. Everyone in theory could hand wash cloth diapers, but the reality is that not everyone can. Be that a physical, mental, emotional blockage of some sort that would keep someone from being able to do that. So I just want to remind you guys, cloth is not all or nothing. Cloth isn't always an option for everybody. Like I mentioned in the Dropbox below, I will be having information on the National Cloth Diaper Banks. If you're in my area, if you're in North Dakota and you need help with some sort of resources, hit me up. I've got a whole bunch of them on my linked tree over on Instagram, and I'd be happy to point you in the right direction if you're in my region. So with that, thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.